So yes, I got my purpose in life wrong. And the likelihood is, so have you too. Let me explain. So I thought my purpose in life was to help as many people as I could set themselves free from anxiety. I mean, I'd had a panic attack disorder, general anxiety disorder, and that led me down the path from a mini awakening to realizing that most people are working with anxiety in a wrong way. And what they're doing is fighting anxiety, trying to get rid of it. And I realized from my own experiences that by working with anxiety and seeing it as a wake-up call, seeing it as a gift, and learning to listen to its message, you can begin to set yourself free. And that's a powerful, powerful purpose. Until I had my awakening. And back in January, when the awakening experience happened, I realized that I had begun to see my purpose in a completely different light. There was nothing that I had to do, by the way. This is one of the insights that came from awakening. There was nothing I had to do, nothing I had to be. And in a sense, that was completely and utterly liberating. But with awakening, there is a gentle pull, almost like a sense of intuition and guidance to point at how to awaken, how to literally free yourself from the limitations of your mind and live the life that you truly want. So was that my purpose? Well, actually, no, that wasn't my purpose either. My purpose, as is yours, and you might agree with this or not, is to remember the truth of who you are and to awaken, to become free from the limitations of your mind. Because think about it. Most of your suffering, and some would argue all of your suffering, is coming from in here. Your imagination, your thought processes, your beliefs, your identity. And the reality is, they're not you. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You're not your beliefs. You are not your identity. And I know that might sound odd and maybe a bit woo-woo for some people. But in a way, it's a reality that you could begin to explore. Don't take what I say as the truth, but begin to explore this for yourself. So, what are you then, if you're not your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, identity? You are the awareness that can observe your thoughts, your feelings, your mind. You can become aware of your beliefs. You can become aware of how you perceive things. And it's that awareness, which some say, is the universal consciousness, infinite being. And when I had my awakening, that's what I remembered. That's what I realized I was. It was an instant knowing. Now, I'd heard about all of this stuff. I mean, I've been researching awakening for a while. I've even interviewed Steve Taylor, for example. He's quite a famous psychologist who talks about awakening in a very down-to-earth fashion. It's something for all of us, not something for monks on a mountain or people who have meditated for 4 to 5 hours a day. It can happen to any of us at any time. And in a way, I was understanding the logic of it, but I saw it more from a mindfulness perspective. And I do practice mindfulness, and there are mindfulness podcast episodes and meditations on the Mindset Change podcast. But until I experienced awakening, I had no idea how powerful it was. It was like looking at a car and understanding the logic of how to drive it. But suddenly, when I had my awakening, I was now in the driver's seat. So if you think about your purpose, we're not talking about a vocation, by the way, or your calling. My calling now is to just simply point the way. Hence why I'm talking to you in this video. It's your vocation is lovely and a calling is lovely. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can find more about that from your values, for example, what it is that you're passionate about, what you enjoy. But when you awaken, all of that can change. So your ultimate purpose isn't your vocation. I hope that makes sense. It's to remember who you are and set yourself free from the limitations of your mind for you to live the life that you truly want to live. Now that is an absolute game changer. Because think about it. The way that you're living, or likely to be living, let's not make assumptions, is based on the conditioning of everyone who's had an influence on you as you were growing up. So your caregivers, your parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, anyone who's of influence, teachers, your politics, religion, would all create a belief system on this is how the world works. Yeah. And something that you can begin to explore through mindfulness, through meditation, is how you can observe your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings. And you get a sense of being an awareness. You can become aware of being aware. And I love this question from Adyashanti, who is a powerful, I'm not going to remove the word powerful. He's a wonderful spiritual teacher who I discovered, and I think that might have been part of my awakening experience, listening to his content and just opening my mind to the idea of what awakening really was all about. And he asked a question, who am I before a thought tries to tell me who I am? Who am I before a thought tries to tell me who I am? Now, it's very easy for the mind to jump in with your identity. You're a mum or a father, or, your name, your job. But the reality is, the answer is in the experience you have before your mind answers. Remember, you're not your mind, you are the awareness. And I asked this question on social media, and hundreds of people had this incredible experience of feeling peaceful, still, a nothingness, which is what you are before the mind jumps in. How powerful is that? How powerful is that? And I like another question as well that's come to mind from Locke Kelly, who did a wonderful book called, I think I got it right, Effortless Mindfulness. And it's another way of beginning to get a sense of that peace and stillness that you can have within you. And he says, the question is, what's here right now when there are no problems to solve? What's here right now when there are no problems to solve? And again, think about it. The mind is a constant problem solver. It's jumping into the future, utilizing the past, trying to create a false sense of control for a future that doesn't even exist. But that's because we've evolved in a way to try to predict a future constantly and try to keep safe. And that's more, again, in the Western culture especially, that's going to be more about emotional safety. I know there are parts of the world where that will be about physical. And again, you would ignore this information, this advice based on that. But when it comes to emotional danger, are we really in danger? But that's what the mind is constantly trying to problem solve. And it keeps this mind really busy Overthinking, filling up the brain full of thoughts can be overwhelming. But when you ask that question, what's here right now? When there are no problems to solve. There's a peace, there's a stillness, a silence. That is the truth of who you are. And that's always available to you, by the way. It's always available to you. You are free. It's funny, isn't it? Let me add a bit to that, but you are always free. There is this idea in our minds that we want freedom. Think about, if I earned this amount of money, if I had this type of job, this type of relationship, lived in this type of environment, I would be free, I'd be happy. And it leaves us chasing, it leaves us constantly feeling dissatisfied, which is brutal, isn't it? When will it ever end? It's driven by the mind, driven by the ego. And yet, what's available to you always is with a breath, or even, you don't even have to take a breath, but it's a nice thing to do. With a breath, come back to the present moment and just become aware of right here, right now, whilst you're listening to the sound of my voice. There are no problems to solve. Anything that your mind comes up with is a story about a future that doesn't exist yet. Does it mean you don't have responsibilities in the future? Of course it doesn't. But right here, right now, there's nothing to solve. So you can get a sense of that. So you can get a sense of how that feels. At peace. And if you think about, and I think this is absolutely beautiful to do, by the way, to think about right here, right now, with no problems to solve, you are free. But that also means you have everything you need this very second. Everything you need. How liberating is that? How abundant are you right now? You are a manifesting powerhouse. I'll always champion that. And as a manifesting powerhouse, you have brought into your reality, right here, right now, in the only moment that exists, you've brought this video to you. And I hope it's of use to you. I've got no idea. I have no expectations for this video. I thought I'd just record it on an off chance just to see what happens. And do you know what? You are very dangerous if you have the attitude of, let me create something without the expectations to see what happens. But let's just see what happens. Letting go of any expectations, any story that it has to turn out a certain way. That is dangerous. Dangerous to the reality, to the systems we have in this world, which in a way, I believe are your rite of passage to break free from. Or really to remember that you're free from. And begin to let go of the limiting beliefs and stories that you're holding on to as true. Remember, you're the awareness that can watch those stories inside your mind. So the more you begin to recognize, let's go back to the present moment, the more you recognize that right here, right now, in the only moment that exists, that you are free. Anything that you need in the future is in the future, but right here, right now, you are free, you are abundant, you have everything you need. Take a deep breath with that. Relax into the only moment we have. And can you feel gratitude for having everything you need right now? And become aware of being aware. And you might get a sense of remembering who you are. A little glimpse. A sense of peace and stillness and love, compassion. It's just there. And just take note with that. Remember it. I know your mind may go back into the dream state later, worrying about this, worrying about that. Completely normal. But the more you practice coming back to the present moment, taking a breath, recognizing the truth of who you are, exercising the truth of who you are, the stronger it will get. The more focused you become, the more intuitive you will feel. And it's from here you can be guided through life. You can guide yourself through life. No more being the follower, being the leader that you are. You don't get in a car, in the driver's seat, and ask other people to drive, do you? You don't get all the little mini yous or your mini passenger selves and egos in the back seat wanting to drive. You don't let them drive, do you? Well, we have a tendency to let that happen. But now is the time for you to take control, for you to be the leader and driver of your life. That's why you're hearing this message. What you do with it is entirely up to you. Whether you believe it, doesn't matter. It's going into your subconscious mind. And maybe it will help guide you to more information to help you realize your truth. That's the most important thing about all of this. Discovering your truth. That's the ultimate purpose. Your truth. Know what I'm saying? Or any other meditators or gurus or self-help books. And their information could be correct. But the reality is, it won't mean anything compared to your own insights. And giving yourself that space and time for your insights is one of the most powerful things you could actually do. Because how you discover your truth if you're constantly distracted, constantly busy? Screens, distractions, TV shows, phones, scrolling. There's so much going on. There's like a war for your attention. And it's for you to set yourself free from. Yeah, we complain that these things are terrible for us and we're a victim to them. But that's the trap, isn't it? The trap is to believe that somehow you're powerless, and you are so not powerless. You have the most incredible mind. Look at what you've drawn into your world right now. You're hearing the term wake up. You're hearing to remember who you really are. And you'll keep hearing these messages in some way or another until you do. Yeah. So your ultimate purpose, let's just do a little recap. Your ultimate purpose is to remember who you are, to break free from the limitations of your mind, and to live life true to you. I don't think there's anything more attractive in life than a person living with authenticity. That's aligned with their true values, how they want to live, and awake and aware. So, I hope this has been of some help to you. You know, we often get stuck trying to find our purpose and feeling like a failure if we somehow haven't managed it. It's because we're just trying to find something to feed the ego. It's never satisfied. The ego is never satisfied. And the ego isn't the enemy, by the way. It's just a conditioned part of you, conditioned by the people around you in society. You can help it evolve with you, grow with you, blend with you, but blend with your true awareness and to begin to live life from there. So if you want to know more, if you want to hear more of this content to inspire you to begin to wake up, subscribe, comment, have a chat with me, listen to the Mindset Change podcast. And it'd be good to connect with you because, again, my mission in life isn't to help as many people wake up as I can. That's a lovely little thing for me to be part of. All I'm doing is pointing the way, and then everyone can decide what to do from there. So anyway, thank you for listening, and I look forward to your comments down below.